Was there a revelation at some point where you're like, hey, I'm actually kind of good at this?
Pete Holmes says you need a little bit of like delusion in order to make it in this business. Like, you need to think that you're like kind of like the best around and that you deserve a shot and you're gonna make it. It's only a matter of time. Now, that manifests itself into you being a straight up dick. And I even had at one point when I was learning improv in Chicago, one of my like improv coaches sat me down. She gave me this big story about how she could have been on SNL, but like she had a reputation for being a real tough person to work with, and and she just sort of like hinted at the fact that like being an asshole doesn't get you that far. And I really had I was like, oh, introspective moment.
That's so interesting that someone would care enough to.
I took it as, at first I was like, fuck this bitch. And then I was like, oh, that's probably a good sign of your arrogance. And from that point on, my whole shift changed of like, oh, you maybe not the shit. You're maybe not like the best person to have walked the earth. Because honestly, at that point I thought, I was like, why aren't I on SNL right now? I moved to Chicago. I should have been on a main stage in like 6 months and then SNL in like 3.
But you had the delusion. Because I read you dropped out of school or something like that.
Yeah, I went to, because you go to your, you're in a small town, you go to your guidance counselor, right?
Right.
And you're like, so I want to do comedy. I want to be an actor. What do I do? And they're like, well, I guess you go to theater school and get a degree. So I was like, oh, okay. I gotta trust Mr. Whoever. So then I went to University of Victoria, which is like, in terms of like colleges that have a theater program, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Went there for a couple years and did pretty well. Like by my second year, I was like the lead of all of a bunch of plays, and like that was usually reserved for like the 4th year, like the seniors and stuff.
The arrogance grows.
Yeah, of course. Now I'm like, this fucking bullshit. Drop out of there to go to theater acting school in Toronto, but the summer between being accepted and starting, I met all these people that are doing comedy. They're doing sketch, stand-up, improv, all this kind of stuff. I was like, oh, wait, you can just do it? You don't have to go to school? I don't have to come up with my classical and contemporary monologues?
Right.
And talk like this, so the people in the back row can hear me, all that hellish, like, oh, the theater, the boards, all that shit. I don't have to do that. Sign me up. And so I blew theater school off and started doing that.